Hello, we're going to do a demo of how to do an orthographic projection, a set of orthographic projections. The object that we're going to look at is this one. Now this is in an isometric view, looking at it from a corner. And so the first thing you would do is put that isometric view in this corner up here where the isometric paper is. So to do that, we'll start with this corner on the shape right here. And in fact, hold on. See if we can make this stand out a little better. So we're going to start with this corner on the shape. And we'll call that, let's call it this point on our paper. So from that point, we can go up and to the right, like this, 2 blocks. So we can go 1, 2, up and to the right, 2 blocks. And we can go up and to the left, 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. This way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we don't have to use a ruler for this part. It's kind of a sketch, so it's okay. Now, let's go from this point straight up 3 blocks. So here we are here, and we're going to go up, straight up 3 blocks. And then let's do this square here at the top. So that's down and to the left, up and to the left, up and to the right, down and to the right, just like that. So it's going to be this right here. And as long as you keep track of where you are on the shape and where you are on the drawing, you'll be okay. So like if I start at this corner, I know that's this corner. I'm going to go down 2 blocks. 1, 2. Let's see, and let's just finish this side. So we'll go down and to the left. 1. And then straight down. And that will finish this whole side that's facing off to the right a little bit. All right, let's work on finishing this part right here. So let's start all the way back here where we ended before. We'll go up 2 units, straight up. And then we'll go down and to the right, 1 block. And then straight down 1 block. And then we'll connect that location to right there by going that direction. Let's work on the top of this piece right here. So for that, we're going to follow that set of edges. See if you can figure out it here. So we're here, there, and like that. Let's work on right here. We're going to do this little piece. So in this corner here, straight down 1 block. That's here, straight down 1 block. And we'll get this inside corner right here. They're important. They help us really see what's going on. So that would be that. And you know what, let's finish our tower. Really, there's only a couple lines left in the tower. We'll go from this upper corner straight down, and then we'll go down and to the right to round out that side. So we'll go straight down, and then we'll get this inside corner. And there's really only one piece left, and that's right back here. So starting at this corner here, we're just going to go until we don't see it anymore, like so. And that is a quick review of an isometric sketch. Let's make everything pointing off to the right pretty dark. That would be that and this. And everything pointing to the left, like a medium shade. And that leaves anything pointing up to will remain white. And so we've drawn it isometrically. And I've also provided for you a front view, a top view, and a right-hand side view of this same object. And those are what we're going to draw. Those are what we call the projections, the different views. So let's take a look at this front view right here. I'm going to slide it over here. And that front view, now these you want to do neatly. So for this, every one of these little blocks, let's make it 2 squares on our graph paper. So for example, this would be 2, 4 tall. So I'm going to take my ruler and go 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's these 2 segments represent right here and here. You don't have to put the little dots, I'm just doing that for explanation. And then we'll go over a couple squares. Notice you're going to have your ruler out for this because these need to be relatively neat. Now we're here. And in fact, we can do the same kind of thing where we follow along. Now we're here. Let's go down 2 of the squares because that's equal to 1 block. And now we're going to go all the way over because this edge is in front of the tower. Right? So we're going to go all the way over because that edge needs to be put in there. So that's going to be 2, 4, 6 squares on my graph paper. So I can mark that off 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be to here. And now we'll do this and then all the way back. So we're going to go down a couple and then all the way back to where we started. I'm not quite done yet though. If you look at it, you can see that we still have this tower to deal with. So this is just going to be a rectangle. It's 2 blocks tall, so 4 squares on my paper. So 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to be to there. And this would be the front view. Just like you would see it here, but like I said, for every side of a cube, we've done 2 squares on our paper. Now, next step in drawing a set of projections like this, orthographic projections, is we're going to take every one of these vertical lines. So this one, this one, this one, and this one. And we're going to draw them lightly to the top of the page. I find it helpful to put a little mark on the line and then follow the grid line and you'll be fine. So just a light line up to there. And do the same for this vertical line here. And the same for this one. And the same for this one. That one's a little off. We're going to move it a touch. There we go. So those 4 lines vertically all the way up. Because we're going to use those to help us figure out the top view. So the top view, if you look at this one, it might help, has this rectangle right here that you would see. In fact, we could use our isometric really. So the top view should be just the white pieces here that you see. So there'll be a rectangle on the left. Notice we already know the width of that rectangle. And there'll be a square in the upper right. So let's see if we can make sense of this. Doesn't really matter where we start, but let's make that rectangle right here. That's going to look like this. And it's going to be 2 blocks, so it's going to be, right? If we look at it, that's this right here that we're working on. So it's going to be 2 blocks, that's 4 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. So we would draw using a ruler, not like I just did. Here and there. Now what about this tower? What about this square here? That's going to be this right here. So we're going to go and figure out where that is. Let's see, we'll be at the same height as, so we're going to draw a square right here to represent that. Maybe darken these lines up real quick. There we go. In fact, let's darken these up as well. So this represents this part right here. This represents the top of that. So now we just need to round everything else out, the rest of the top of this thing. It would be this part right here. And to do that, we just draw this, and then up to here, and then this over. This represents the top of our object. Now to get the right-hand side, we do a similar thing we did before. Any horizontal line here, I take across the page to the right. So for example, nice lightish line across here. One, actually at the level of this. One at this level. And one at the bottom. So those come from these horizontal lines. And then, this is one of the more interesting things, all of the horizontal lines on this drawing are actually going to get down here eventually as well. For example, let's go with this line all the way at the back. If you follow it over on its grid line, it will hit this 45-degree angle line that I've drawn. So you're going to come over until you hit that line, right there, make a point. And then from that point, just draw a light line all the way to the bottom of the page. Let's do the same for this. So I follow this across until I hit the line, and then from there, I draw it all the way to the bottom of the page. So I came across. Now there's one other line that's horizontal, this one. So I'll bring it over until I hit, and then I'll go to the bottom of the page. We're going to use all the lines that we've created to help us with this right-hand view. Now the right-hand view, if you think about it, has all of this is right up on the front of the show, right here, is right, all close to you. And then you have this back section right here, part of which is going to be blocked by the tower. So we have this right here. But this line that I'm drawing right here, it continues behind. So to show that, we would put a dotted line there. We would also dot here to show that there's a gap back here. So our goal is to make a drawing that looks like this right here. Let's see if I can put that in position so you can see it. Let's see if I can fold this. All right. So this will be dark, and I should be using a ruler, but I'm going to do this for now. So this should be dark. And then all the way up here, over and down and over, because that's this L shape right here. And this should be dark because you would see it as well. That's this right here. But there should be dotted lines here and here to illustrate what's going on back here. And now if I clean that up with a ruler, we'll be in good shape. Just do that real quick because that's what I'll expect you to do. So I might as well demonstrate it as best I can. Alright, and then all these other lines that we drew to connect things or to project over, we can get rid of those. And then there's one last step. As best we can, we are going to dimension this shape. In other words, we're going to give all the different sizes of the sides of this thing and the bends and so forth of this. So to do that, first of all, we should note, on your paper I've noted this, that every one of these little sides on one of these squares is actually, in the real world, is 1 centimeter. So if something is 4 squares across, it's 4 centimeters across. So for example, the total width of our object is 1, 2, 3, it's 4 squares. So to dimension that, what we do is we draw a little bitty line here and a little bitty line here, and we write 4 centimeters right in between them, and then we draw 2 arrows. And this tells the person building it that this distance is 4 centimeters. While we're at it, let's also indicate that this distance is how many? Now it looks like it's 2 centimeters from this, right? 2 centimeters wide, so we draw 2 centimeters here and little arrows. Notice these lines here don't actually touch the object. Alright, so what are some other ones we can do? Well, we can do, let's do this piece and this piece here. So we would do a little line, a little line, a little line, and a little line, and each of those is 1 centimeter. So 1 centimeter, and then as best we can, a couple little arrows. There's another way to do that. You could write 1 centimeter and write the arrows on the outside, like so, if the space isn't enough. Now, we both know that this is 2 centimeters long, but we don't need to write it because we already know the whole